Sometimes God, in his authority as our divine Father, has to look at us and say, no, that's not a good request. Sometimes we're overzealous about something we want to do, and we'll push past the will of God to do the will of Jeremy. This happens to Simon Peter in the book of Matthew. They go up, Peter, James, and John go up with Jesus to the Mount of Transfiguration. And there Jesus' face shines with the glory of God. Moses and Elijah appear on either side of him. It is a holy moment. And Simon Peter goes, Jesus, I have a great idea. We should build a temple. No, we should build 3 temples. One for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah, and it'll be amazing. And Jesus doesn't even respond. Literally looks at him. You got to know, Simon Peter's like, okie dokie then. Why would Jesus not even respond to that? Here's why. It was a good idea. It wasn't a God idea. And construction in those days took a long time. Construction nowadays takes a long time. Construction in those days took way longer. And here's what Jesus knew. If Simon Peter pursued something to honor God that took way too many years, it would distract him from the ultimate purpose of preaching that first day of Pentecost message and helping start the early church. So sometimes we will push our way past a no, and we'll try to convince God, I'm doing this for your glory. And he'll say, that's fine, but it's actually not a part of your purpose. I wonder what no you're trying to push past right now, because you're overzealous about doing something for God that's not actually God's will. Ooh, thing's hot. Sometimes our requests are selfish. James and John came to Jesus right after Jesus had been talking to him, and he said, listen, I'm gonna be tortured. I'm gonna be crucified. I'm gonna be placed in a tomb, but I'm gonna rise again on the 3rd day. It's a very solemn conversation. And this is James and John's response to this. The Bible comes alive to me. Mark chapter 10. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came over and spoke to him just after he had told this just amazing, like, I'm gonna die. This was their response. Teacher, we would like for you to do us a favor. Okay, what's your request? Well, it's not much. When you have a seat on your glorious throne, we'd like to have 2 little bitty thrones right on either side of you. One of us will sit on the left side, one of us on the right side. Doesn't really matter which side, just as long as it's nobody else. Jesus, if you need somebody to drive the Bentley, we'll do that. And Jesus says, do you even know what you're asking? Are you able to be baptized with the suffering and drink from the cup of suffering that I'm drinking from? They said, oh, yes, we are. No, they weren't. It was a selfish request. I wonder what would happen if all the prayers you pray were answered. Would anybody else get blessed? Sometimes we're so selfish that we can't even see what God has called us to do. Sometimes your request is crazy. When Jesus is going to Jerusalem, he has to go through Samaria. The Samaritans get ticked because Jesus is coming through them to get to Jerusalem. They get mad and decide not to welcome him. Listen to the response of James and John, Luke chapter 9. But the people of the village did not welcome Jesus because he was on his way to Jerusalem. And when James and John saw this, they said to Jesus, Lord, you want us to call down fire from heaven and burn them all up? We'll make some holy s'mores, Jesus. It'll be amazing. Jesus rebukes them and says, no, morons. I'm not trying to torch people. I'm trying to transform people. Aren't you glad God doesn't answer all of your prayers? Garth Brooks chapter 1 verse 3 says some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. Okay, that's not in the Bible, but it was fun. If the request is wrong, God will say no. If the timing is wrong, God will say whoa. No is final. Whoa just means wait. And you're not born with patience. How many of you just love to wait? No, we don't like to wait. Like whenever you know you're going somewhere and they're like, you're gonna have to wait. A few years ago, I was flying through Atlanta. If you've ever flown through Atlanta, you probably spent the night in Atlanta because it's just crazy. The airports there, just wild. And our flight was delayed and I was frustrated. It was one of those small regional jets and you had to walk outside in the hot sun and then walk up the ramp to get on the plane. And finally the plane got there. And so we walked outside just before I walked on the plane. I was the first one. Just before I walked on the plane, the flight attendant stepped out. She stepped out of the plane and goes, hey, sir, I'm so sorry. Can you just wait right there? And I was like, okay. And after 10 minutes in the sweltering heat, she came back out. She was like, it'll just be a few more minutes. I said, hey, why can't we get on right now? Like we're standing, it is so hot. We are ready to get on the plane. She said, I'm so sorry, sir. The AC has broke on the plane and it's about 120 degrees inside right now. I was like, hey girl, we good right? Got this nice breeze. Sometimes I'm trying to push myself into something that is not prepared for me yet. No, but I just want to be in there. And I promise you, it'll be a whole lot hotter in there than where you are right now. I know you're ready, but the situation's not ready yet. If timing is wrong, Brad preached it last weekend. What a good message. Work your weight. Sometimes a blessing in the wrong time is not a blessing, but a curse. I remember I was flying somewhere else and I had to make a connection and I was on a plane and the pilot came on and he said, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. And we're about 20 minutes out and flight attendants prepare the cabin for landing. I don't know if you're a pilot. Why do you guys talk like that? It's weird. But I've always wanted to do it. Anyway, after 20 minutes, we still hadn't landed. After 30 minutes, still no landing. Now I'm frustrated because I'm going to miss a connection. After 50 minutes, the pilot came back on and said, I'm so sorry for the delay. We had planned on landing. A storm blew the other way, blew in over the airport, and it's actually dangerous for us to land right now. So we're going to hold up here for a little bit longer. I was like, hold on, bro. That's fine. We'll hold all that we need to, bro. I'd rather be Jeremy Foster late than the late Jeremy Foster. Come on, somebody. But sometimes you will try to push yourself into an environment that is not yet ready for you, and it might destroy your purpose if you'll just work your weight a little bit. Hang on. Understand a woe is not always a no.